the link between Epstein, Diddy, Scientology, and Catholicism. So probably religion. Guys, you guys know that I've been trying to find, I know there's a connect. I know it's all connected. And somehow, the church, and I say the church of the Bible, like the ecclesia, the remnant, those of us, I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about the modern, whatever, infrastructure of religion, but religion itself, right? I've been trying to find the link together because I know that all the kingdoms work together, and I've been trying to figure out why there's not more information, and it made me realize a link, right? Because one thing that we all know, and I'm just hypothesizing here, right? One thing we all know is that the way a lot of people were silenced through things like Epstein or Diddy and whatever they're involved in, again, they're just figureheads. It's really a lot bigger, but hey, this is YouTube, this is internet. I'm using the buzzwords everybody wants to hear, right? Is the blackmail, right? They get you into precarious situations, and people have said it more than once. They get you in a situation where you're seen doing things you don't want to do, you don't want to be known to be doing, or whatever, and therefore you are kept silent, and everybody is silent, and no one ever figures anything out because no one wants to be exposed. Now, I find that fascinating because it's literally a tactic the devil used from the beginning, right? Shame. He got Adam and Eve in shame, so now they wanted to cover themselves up. They wanted to hide away. And this is why, you guys, I really very much believe in oversharing on the internet, even though I know it makes other people uncomfortable. And I feel like it makes other people uncomfortable because you want to live in shame. And that's what we do. We hide things away. And I think there's a lot of power in just saying it out loud and just like saying it is what it is. And like I've said, I hope that encourages other people not to feel shame. And I honestly think this is why a lot of people share their secrets with me, because they know I'm not going to shame them. I'm not going to shame them. I'm not going to make them feel guilty. I'm not going to, whatever, because, hey, it's like you're a human being. Like, it is what it is. But that had me thinking, right? It made me think about confession. And in Scientology, you know how you do those e-meter things where you go through your traumas and you go over your traumas that you've been through to try and essentially you keep reliving it until you don't react to it anymore, which I also think is kind of insane. This town is low-key so dangerous because there's always just these dips everywhere out of nowhere, and it looks like somebody almost crashed here. And it's just so unwell kept in certain areas. I mean, look at this. What is this we've got going on? It even looks better in the camera. Areas like this, I'm just like anyway, whatever. So had me thinking about, so in Scientology, you keep going over the trauma again and again, and you're telling the person again and again until you stop reacting to it. And that made me think, what is actually the purpose of that? You see, this is the post-church community. This is why I had to come down these other roads and these hideaways, because I'm trying to avoid the after-church crowd, which I should have really come out a bit sooner. But I was dilly-dallying, also been talking to you guys. But, so it just made me think, in all these scenarios, the thing that's it made me realize that the thing they all have in common is the fact that you are sharing with another human being about either your sins or your traumas, right? Same with confession. In Catholicism, I never liked the concept of confession because why am I confessing to you? I don't know you. I don't trust you. This isn't a safe space. And I do believe God wants us to share in safe spaces. And that's what I appreciate about him, actually, because I feel like, he's not like this. I'm saying God is the complete opposite of whatever a predator is. He's like, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. This is a lot of why God doesn't force a lot of things onto us and just change the world like the way people want him to. Because it's like, I'm not going to force onto you guys what you don't want. And actually, you guys are all doing what you do want. If you're wondering why there's this and that happening, ask yourselves, because you guys are using your free will, You guys are the ones creating this. You are choosing to do it. I didn't force you. And God has always been like that. He just informs you of your options and of the consequences. What the hell was that on my arm? Hold on a second. So, Adam and Eve, he's like, hey, if you eat from this tree, you shall surely die. This FYI, do what you want, do what you will, up to you. Cain and Abel, he did the same thing. Hey, if you don't, if sin is knocking at your door, if you don't listen, you're gonna die. You're gonna regret it. He goes and he kills his brother anyway. God's like, right. Like even now with the Bible, God's like, hey, it's all there. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart He was raised from the dead, then you shall be saved. It's all right there. It's your choice whether you choose to engage or not engage. And it's as simple as that. So like I say, and I always say, God is very, very consensual in that way. Now, all of these guilt places where you have to share trauma you don't want to share, I feel like opens another door to being blackmailed. That's what it hit me. Because think about it. Yeah, this place, the last time I walked here, there was nowhere near this much greenery. Sorry guys, the sun is literally behind me, so it's going to be hard to see me. Just the blackmail. Because think about it. This must be what they're doing. Like when people are going to confession, when people are going in Scientology and they're doing their therapy, the e-meter thing, and they love to do that. They're getting you to relive trauma or this and that, talk through things. All these places where you're being forced to share things that you might not want to share, either things you've done or things that have happened to you, right? That's just another opportunity for blackmail. Because think about it. If you go to a church, you go to confession, yeah, and then you say whatever you say to the Catholic priest and whatever, and then he goes and does something heinous. This is the other thing. I also think that there's some sick level of enjoyment people get out of this, like hearing people's stories and then figuring out who's their perfect victims. Because again, we even know that, I want to say studies have shown, but we all know I don't really give a crap about studies. But so, hey, I'll speak to the world that I'm living in. Studies have shown that even predators, they know how to spot easy targets. Just like how, on the Epstein Islands and whatnot. Is this all I've achieved? Have I just done a loop? I've just done a loop. I've just done a loop. Whatever. Actually, though, the bit of road that I avoided, thank goodness. Anyway, so I've just done a freaking loop. If I could find that, but that goes in a completely different direction from where I was coming. I've kind of done a loop. I haven't, because I've gone further, but not as far as I wanted to. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. I just don't want to be... Anyway, so this is what's got me thinking. That you could just easily manipulate somebody and be like, well, I know what you did the other weekend. I know the sins you did. Because this is what I feel like a lot of religion banks on. The way that the world banks on like shame and people not wanting stuff to come out like they're involved in like at these parties. I think the Christians are really good at getting people in shame. Like, whether it's blaming somebody like, oh, this is only happening to you. Which I think it also happens in Scientology. Like, this is only happening to you because you must have done something wrong. You must have sinned. That kind of stuff. Or like when people say stuff like, they shame you that you're going to hell and this, that, and the other, and you're only loved and accepted amongst a lot of believers if you meet whatever their perceived level of holiness is, and all of that. There's a lot of the use of shame in that way, which is also why I believe we're not getting healing and the deliverance we all need. Again, going back to what I said to you guys, I enjoy the fact that like I speak up about things, I share, I tell you all. I don't tell you guys everything, but I tell you a lot. And then I go through the processes, and then I actually end up on the other side, free, living freely. And you feel better for it because you're not just storing all this stuff inside or having to hide away or, living afraid of people finding out. That's kind of why I encourage people to just actually share things out loud. I realize there's so much power in, rather than me being worried about if things get out, just saying it myself. That's why I say it so much. That's another reason I say so much stuff to you guys. Because I know other people would think, we're going to tear her down because let's see how she would feel if they knew this about her. It's like, let me get there first. That's literally my way of doing things. Like, I'll just get there first. But yeah, so I realized that would be literally the most genius way to blackmail people, because they're sharing everything. And this must be what's happening. this must be what's happening. And I actually feel like I've made a discovery here, because there's this like layer, I can't describe it, but it's like on a spiritual level. I feel like there's so much we don't know, and there's this layer of privacy and secrecy that I just feel we can't break into, almost like on a spiritual level. I've been thinking about this, like to do with just everything happening in the world and to do with everything happening in the church. And I believe that this is where it is. It's the bit where you don't want to, it's kind of like what I say about why prostitution works and why prostitutes are a good choice for anybody. Because chances are, if you're the person who's a prostitute, you don't want the whole world to know about what you've been doing and what you get up to. And then chances are, if you're going to the prostitute, you also don't want everybody to know what you've been doing. I actually don't know where I am. So then it works out for everybody, because everybody wants to then keep everybody's secret, because you don't really want your work known to everybody, what you're getting up to. They certainly don't want anybody to know what they're doing with you. I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like it's the exact same thing. That's why that's an industry, the sex work industry. You never hear, you don't hear really stories coming out, like where it's like this sex worker exposed so-and-so. And the similar thing I said in my previous video, where I said about a lot of trans men and women, because they are engaging with a lot of people who are closet queer. Let's just say queer, because that's the word we use, closet queer, secretly gay, secretly lesbian, whatever. Then that's why everybody keeps each other's secrets, because for the transgender, some of the transgender community, they get to be with people that they never would think they would get to be with. And then the people who are with them also don't expose anything, because they don't want to be known to be engaging with that. Oh, this is the Salvation, I'm near the Salvation Army, which means I should know where I am, but I don't. Flip's sake. I've completely lost my sense of where I'm going. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure this isn't the way I'm supposed to be going, but I just want to see what's around here, because I've been around these shops before. Oh. So got the Salvation Army here. Of course, they're open now because this is Sunday. And then, okay, fish and chip shop, restaurant, lounge, and takeaway. What kind of food is it? Can't tell from here. I can't tell what kind of food that is. And I don't know what building this is here. Some of these places I haven't been to in literally over 15 years, because I've definitely been around here. Oh, it's just like the little community centre thing. This is such a nice road. I want to walk up this road. I just have a feeling this isn't the direction I'm supposed to be going. Okay, we'll go around this way and we'll come back. Anyway, this is what I actually do like about this town, by the way. What I always liked is that you can kind of just you don't have to walk very far, and there's just lots of random places and random stuff happening everywhere. And it's all walkable distance, because you guys know I really love walking, because it's just, I don't like to be still. I hate being still. I hate being still, and I hate sitting. I like to be on my feet. And I only want to be off my feet once I've exhausted all my energy. So this is what has me thinking, guys. I think that there's all this protection going on across the board, because people are being blackmailed, and then they can't obviously speak up, because in the church-like settings, sorry guys, is it just my hair or what is it? There's just stuff bothering my face. In the church-like settings, obviously you're going to be sworn to secrecy, because whoever's above you is above you. If it's the person who you're going and sharing all of your finer details of what has happened to you, like in your traumas and what you did in your confessions, then of course you're going to be kept sworn to secrecy. Now the thing is, or you're not going to be likely to want to speak up. And the reason I even started to talk about this is because as I was doing my little social media deep dive, whatever I was doing, no way. Is this where I am? Oh, hell no. This is so funny. I, guys, am in another part from where I thought I was. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I'm happy because my main thing is I didn't want to get caught by anyone see me. No one's going to see me this way. And this gives me an excuse actually to go the other way. I'm by the other school. The one I usually show you guys, I tell you whenever I'm like in my local town, I say there's a school and I can see it like all the way over there. The one they're rebuilding that my brother was at, that they're now having to rebuild after they were in there for 4 years. Yeah, and funny enough, the school that used to be here, I used to go to performing arts school here when I was like 12 or something. And that's pretty cool because I got to learn from like the guy, where was he famous from? Kevin Adams. I can't remember what he's famous from. But I remember he was like a celebrity choreographer because he'd always be like flying out and like not be there for the week because he'd had to go and choreograph for like some celebrity. And I got to learn from some pretty cool celebrities, like the official choreographers, one of which being, and for me this is really super cool, we actually got to learn from one of Madonna's choreographers who came and taught us one of the choreographies from her actual music video that they had choreographed. And then at the time I was really into JLS, we had one of their choreographers come and teach. And I still use the exact same singing warm-up that I learned here actually. Now, if I ever do a singing warm-up. So that's so cool. And I didn't stick with it because another thing, this is me. And they had to change the head teacher here. Oh, it turns out she was a bit of a weirdo, which I discovered. Guys, so much stories to tell. And now they're having to rebuild the whole school. Now it's a building site. And there were kids here for how long? And I thought I was near here as well. I was thinking, no way. So I basically went back on myself. I'm not even mad about it. Anyway, as I was saying, this is what I'm saying. This world is the gift that keeps on giving. It just reminds us of why I hate everything. I couldn't even make this stuff up if I tried. So yeah, oh my gosh. I wonder where they have that Performing Arts Academy now, because we used to use this school grounds. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so sorry guys, this piece of hair is so annoying. I feel like I'm just agitated because of the warmth and because of the leaves on all the trees, because you guys know I hate the trees with the freaking leaves on. Jada Pinkett Smith, I know guys, I'm all over the show. This is just what we do here. This is how it goes. Welcome to the channel. If you don't like it, then listen, God gave us this incredible thing called free will. I wish you the very best. She's a Scientologist. So Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, like I said, I've been trying to look for the connection between religion with all this stuff happening in the entertainment industry, because I feel like once we get that, it's going to be like everything, the full picture. We're going to finally have like the entire picture of everything. Wow, there used to be a building here, community education service. How interesting. How very interesting. Never knew about that. What was I saying? Oh yes, as I was saying, I realized there has to be some kind of connection. Yeah, there has to be some kind of connection between them. And then this started to make me think. So basically, Will and Jada had opened a school for their kids, a long time ago. And it was a private school. Now, here's the thing about that. The thing about that is that this private school failed for one reason. Because the parents all realized that the entire school was run by teachers that were Scientologists. Right? Now, I do think Scientology plays a massive role in the end times. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's like the perfect combination of everything in the most demonic way. Right? You know, like how I believe that science and, and like the Bible, they're like two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? Scientology kind of is like the demonic version of that, where you take like spiritual concepts, right? Like us being Thetans, and us having, other entities that attach themselves to us and whatnot and what have you, that are as a result of trauma and or other things. All of that is true. And as a result, now, is this where I think this is? And as a result, oh yeah. Okay, I used to work here for this job. I used to work at this residential, kids residential home nearby here in the last few years. There was a time I was working at a residential place doing teaching at one of these kids' residential homes. It was a very sad time, actually, because I felt so bad for all the kids there. They really, you'll see me guys again in a second, they really were screwed over by life and the system. And it was really sad. And yeah, because I remember one of the kids, the first day I met them, because it is just a house. So while I'm going there to do my lessons with whoever, everybody's living their own lives. Everybody had their own cases, their own stories. I remember when I went there once, there was a kid there. He was like 13. So you got to imagine all these kids are here because they're like essentially can't live with their family for whatever reason. They're also not fostered for whatever reason or adopted. And he was like 13. And I remember he came one day, and it's the first time I've met him. And they were like, we haven't seen you in a week. What happened? And basically he'd been on all these drugs and hanging out with his friend because his friend was hanging himself off of like, because I'm hearing him have the first conversation with the like house, I don't know what you call her, but she was like the main woman of the house. She was amazing. The one who was like mainly looking after them, like the whatever, I don't know what you would call her, because she wasn't a manager. It's like a different word for it. But she was a lovely woman. They were all, so I hear him speaking to them for the first time since they haven't seen him in an entire week. And and he was like saying all this story about how he was having to talk his friend off a ledge, but like actually talking the friend off the ledge. You can't see me. Actually talking the friend off the ledge. Like the friend was actually trying to kill themselves. And so that's where he was, whilst also doing all these drugs. And then when you got into their story, because then obviously kids in these situations, yeah, they overshare. So like when I'd be like on a break or just whatever, like they'll just come and just start talking to you, and they'll just start telling you about stuff, and you're just like, whoa, and like I said, these are the situations where I don't mind people oversharing. Where I don't like people oversharing is when I'm talking to like somebody at work who's just gone and had a lovely Christmas with their entire family and is booking a girls trip, and there's 20 of them going and they're so excited, and now they want to come and bother me in my 30 minutes. It's like, mate, you've got plenty of people to be talking to and plenty of social interaction and plenty of people concerned about you. I do not need to be added to the list. Give me a break. You know what I mean? I'd rather spend my time with the people. I can't believe my brother was at this school, man, because they've still got these freaking cubes. You can't really see it because of the trees. And I remember he would tell me about how like they were really rickety. They weren't great for the weather because they were like kind of like caravans. And then obviously there were certain places they weren't allowed, so they weren't having like a normal like playground experience. It's really, really sad. And then again, it was one of those classic things where they're trying to make it sound better than it is. Like, oh no, it's fine though, because the kids, they have this and they have that. Like they have this and they have that. Like they still have, what is it? They still have facilities. Sorry. They'll be like, yeah, they still have all these facilities and they still have this and that. And it's like, yeah, but in what kind of community? Like, I remember like having an actual playground to hang out in and, you know, like go on the field. And like I said, like times like this, in this time of year, me and my friends playing tennis at lunchtime and all this stuff. And you're like, yeah, well, we've got this tiny patch of land and they're not really allowed here, and they're living in all these boxes. Like I had proper classrooms with like proper facilities, you know, because they were not able to do the science experiments properly and stuff. It was just, and it's just like, you really don't care about the children. Like, I'm so sorry, but you don't. Which actually nicely brings us back to what we were actually talking about, which is, so first of all, the thing about Jada Pinkett Smith, yeah, and even Will, that's such an issue with, is they're a perfect example of continuing on the negativity to the younger folk and finding a solution, and then that's not really a solution, and then just adding to the trauma of it all. Because I feel like that's what a lot of this is. I feel like a lot of this is unhealed, demonically depraved and demonically, infested adults, demon-infested adults, going and like finding a way to deal with their trauma otherwise. Because like I said, looking back even at Epstein and Diddy, they were not really respected. They didn't have the money and the power and whatever they wanted. So they were looking for a way to gain those things. That's always the story, isn't it? Similar to how Jada, I feel like her whole entire personality was being the woman that a lot of people wanted and being with Tupac. And obviously Tupac was at the forefront. So she's the classic kind of woman, I feel like, who really wants to be the center of attention and doesn't like when she's not the center of attention, and when she's the epitome of what I would describe as selfish woman. And then that with the hurricane of Will Smith, who, as we know, even from the stories with him and Aunt Viv, and why she didn't end up staying in the show, was largely because of him, because he was hating. He was young and desperate, and I never liked the Fresh Prince. This is again where my discernment is through the roof. I never was a fan of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I found it corny, and I felt like he was trying too hard to be funny, because some people, they just are naturally funny, and I really did feel like he was trying really hard to be funny. And lo and behold, that's what was happening. That's exactly what was happening. And he was threatened, again, loser behavior, by somebody else, because obviously Aunt Viv, number one, was a massively talented, well-trained woman, you know what I mean? And even for, being a bit older, she was in incredible shape. She was incredibly talented. So obviously he felt threatened and wanted to get rid of her, the classic move. So that never really gaining the respect. And so then those two coming together makes a lot of sense, because you got him, who likely was happy to be with the woman that a lot of people wanted. And then you got her, who's happy to have him, who's going to feel less than, and she can treat him less than. And especially because she really wanted to be with Tupac, and he's going to put up with that because at least he gets to be with her. So that's a recipe that's a disaster waiting to happen. So then Jada ends up on psychedelics, of course, to try and deal with her depression, because obviously she's depressed. And this is what I mean about the losing community here, and what I've been saying all along about how we all deal with our issues. Okay, guys, actually, I'm not off track, really. I've just decided, it's like as if I could have done a straight line forward. I've kind of just gone slightly like a significantly different direction, but it works, honestly. And so I could go this way, then I could go under the underpass. Is this the way I'm thinking of? Or is it not? I don't know, guys. I'm getting confused now. I'm confusing myself. I think I've passed that point. If you want to see what's behind me. Yeah. And then another forest on the left here. Down there. I told you, this place is carved out of a forest, this entire town. That looks like a nice little walkway. And again, I can tell they cut the trees down. They're cutting the trees down. Anyway, so those two were a disaster waiting to happen, basically. And then they've both not dealt with their issues properly. They've gotten into the industry. They were desperate enough, found Scientology, which again, probably gave them a vehicle of like addressing traumas, but not really. Because I feel like if you're like on drugs, because Jaden Smith was saying that, his mum was the one who started on psychedelics. Then she brought them into the house and everybody was taking psychedelics. Like, that's how they were all coping. Like, that's not coping. Just like how I don't see taking these tranquilizers that the doctors are giving out for mental health disorders is a solution. Just like how painkillers isn't. Because yes, if I injure myself and I take painkillers, it's going to take the pain away. And it might reduce the inflammation, but it hasn't healed the injury. And I feel like it's all just injuredness. All of it. Brokenness. That looks so cool. Look at this. Look at how like the flowers are just peeking in there. Can you see them? The purple flowers. Just in the middle, that patch there. That's so cool. That's so cool. I'll never forget this forest. It's near my school. And one of my friends, she done from something very, very unwise. She's another one of these girls who's really, really boy crazy. She's really boy crazy. And she's this guy, and they went and did whatever they went and did in this very forest, And I don't know how everybody found out about it, but my goodness, everybody was joking about it. She was so uncomfortable. They were like, forest exploitation. That's the only one I remember. And everybody teased her about it. the whole time afterwards. Brutal. Oh my gosh, I think I can cut the way I wanted to cut. This is fantastic. So yeah, this is why, I'm so glad for trauma, like sometimes. So I'm like, the fact that I never even kissed a guy at school, praise Jesus. Because my goodness, the way the rumors would have spread. Now, I'm taking a bit of a gamble here, that if I walk down this road, oh my gosh, look, it's the ponies running around. Where are you going, bro? The pony's just running. What is it? Oh, is it chasing it's just running. So even the ponies are just like freaking adult kids just running back and forth for no reason. Literally, it's just running around in circles, and this is the funniest thing ever. Yeah, it's starting to rain. Okay, I'm going this way. I'm not going to go in the risky route. Yeah, so just makes you think, doesn't it? But back to Will and Jada. So it was kind of obvious. So they didn't obviously heal, and obviously you then see them probably did anything to get famous, right? Because again, the key thing about Scientology even is that you are free to do whatever you want. Whatever you want. Like, okay, here's another example of what I'm saying. Yeah, look. So, more areas where they're planting trees right in front of the area where they're cutting them down. How does that make any sense? Planting more trees right in front of the area where you're cutting them down. Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. Anyway, so we used to go sit there actually sometimes after school in the middle of that little patch there where where they've just planted all the trees in the middle bit. Yeah, they're really doing artwork everywhere. Not another mural in the underpass. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is becoming London. I don't even care. And they've done everything but make it easy to travel to London. Look. Look at this. What the hell? What the hell is going on? What the hell? Anyway, look at my hair. It's because it's been so windy. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me just get through this bit here because, let me just get through this part. Yeah, the unfortunate moment when I found myself right in the middle of town centre now. But I have a quick exit strategy. Hold on. I just walked past some girls, studying. And I can tell literally from the exam papers they were doing. And they're talking about chemistry. It's quite funny. And they're studying. Aww. See what I mean? How wholesome is that? They've come to sit in this little gardens area. And they're doing revision on a Sunday afternoon. That's what I mean. And kids are so precious, bless them. And the stuff that they're talking about shouldn't even be it's one of those topics where this is the stuff they don't need to know. And this is what they're having to stress to learn, to get an education. This is not relevant to them unless they plan on going into and I'm pretty sure into a career that's very chemistry heavy, because I'm pretty sure the topics they're doing GCSE level. Pretty sure I only did those at A level anyway, which there's a lot of topics like that where I'm teaching stuff. I'm like, I didn't do this until A level, and they're doing it at GCSE, so I had to literally choose to do it, and their exams are just getting harder for no reason. Anyway, so Will and Jada were the classic loser type, the loser couple, desperate for attention, desperate to be seen, because this is what a lot of these people are like here. And they're the perfect, and they're the ones who get involved with the demonic stuff and then are happy. This is why you always see Jada smiling and thriving and continuing as if nothing happened, or Will trying another movie, because they're all now trying to cling on to this attention, what they finally wanted with their little loser selves, right? They're clinging on to their attention that they're getting. They're clinging on to the power because that's become their identity, because they never had an identity to begin with. And that's what makes them easy targets. Because for them, it's like, that's the difference. You have the people who are just suffering, right? So they say like the Jadens and the Justin Biebers who can't really necessarily speak up because of the blackmail probably that's there. And the fact that, of course, with the jury of the sheeple, this is what I'm saying, guys. The jury of the sheeple plays such a key role in all of this because it's all about us. Just as even Marcus Rogers said, that of all people that they're worried about in the industry, the leaders in the church, what they're scared of is the people. They're scared of the people turning on them. And that's why I think a lot of people stay silent who are, because I'm saying it's genius, who are being blackmailed, because why would you speak up so that they just expose your skeletons? Then the jury of the sheep is just all going to turn on you. Because the other people's skeletons aren't going to be shared, are they? It'll be yours. That's what I'm saying. It's like the perfect thing. It's like the perfect thing, and it works even better in religion because you have that aspect of going to hell, of, you know, like how like in Mormonism, it's considered that the leader's voice is the same as the voice of God and should be treated as though it is exactly the voice of God. And hold on. This is why I have to keep talking about this stuff, because like we just don't realize how powerful we really are as people. We are literally the reason these people are putting on this performance, because they don't want to lose our attention. That's why even some of us, like when I started my channel, one of the big decisions I made, because I thought about it for months, like I guess somewhere deep down, even though I wasn't really planning to do it other than for the sake of just having somewhere to speak, because God suggested I do it, I had to think long and hard, and I did think long and hard about all the consequences, of course, like things that people know about me that they might try to expose, which is why I try to expose myself first. But then also the fact that, am I doing this because I actually see this as a career, in which case I can't say what I really want to say, or am I choosing that this is something I'm doing just because it's something I want to do? And then that's even why, like, I was having this conversation with somebody that I know who was like, oh, cool, I'm sure you must be monetized now. Like, you must be monetizing on YouTube. I'm like, no, I'm not monetized. They're like, really? Like, I would think that with all the time you spend doing it, it's like, yeah, because I intentionally know that as far as the jury of the sheeple is concerned, me being honest, saying the types of things that I say in the climate of the world I'm living in, it's not going to ever be popular, and I'm okay with that. And the thought of that, because even to this person, because they also did social media and I was helping them, they were like, they couldn't fathom the concept that and a lot of people can't. So throughout the years, I've had a lot of people comment about me like, oh, you need to find a niche, you need to do this, you should have separate channels, it's a separate topic. Why? That's pandering to the people. That's pandering, just like with me and how I do my videos. Why should I edit it like this? Why should I make sure that this is that and that is this? I'm pandering. I don't want to just have people that are there because I've become a slave to the public. And that's what these people are. And something, everybody's a slave. It's like we're a slave to each other. And it's all, again, because, and it is all packaged and protected by one thing: shame, guilt, embarrassment. Yeah? That's why people feel comfortable to say whatever they want to say on the internet when they've got a picture of a duck as their display picture and they use a 37589. You wouldn't say half the things you would normally say. You know what I mean? People are happy to get up to sick and twisted things online because nobody knows who they are. They're not identifiable. It's the same way that people are kept silent, I believe, in the church, in religion, in the world, because people don't want to be found out. They don't want the footage of what they were doing in these parties to come out. They don't want, I'm sure that even the Scientology thing, I was thinking, they must be actually recording this stuff somewhere, because how do you even know? You might not think, because this is why some of us, I love that I'm a paranoid person. So a lot of people don't really pay attention to their surroundings. So I always notice, like, I'm always looking out to see where there's CCTV cameras and what I'm saying, like if there's anything that could be potentially recording what I'm saying, because this is how they catch you out. You're just there. Even in some situations, like with therapy and stuff, there's another reason I don't trust it. It's like, they could just be secretly recording everything you're saying, for all you know. For all you know, they're just secretly recording everything that you're saying. Like, this is also why I don't like to be seen with people, as I've said before, because I'm like, well, if I'm seen with anybody and there's any type of camera or recording, I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to have even one photo. I remember, right, this is a funny example. I can't believe we're now back here. This is not the route I expected to come, but here we go. I'm back at the field, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back at the field. Oh, this has been actually a really nice walk because I've seen so many things I haven't seen in ages. And I've been out for about like 2 hours now. It's crazy. But I probably will be out for about 2 hours by the time I'm done. But this is nice. See, now, this is what I call a nice Sunday. I did some work, I talked to you people. I've been out walking for like ages, just walking around, just walking, talking to you guys and sharing my deeper inner thoughts. And then I'm going to go inside, record a couple of videos from the Bible. See what I'm saying about the creepy trees? Like, okay, you can't tell how creepy that looks. And then I'm going to upload those videos, enjoy the rest of the evening, watch the Cyber Sunday, play some games, and try and leave the day on a high before I have to inevitably deal with the adult population tomorrow morning. Ugh. But anyway, what was I actually saying? Hold on. Yeah, people can just be recording stuff. Oh yeah, I was going to give you an example. Once upon a time, I got in trouble. These are the stories my brothers never got to, the things my brothers didn't get to experience because my parents were no longer like properly together by the time this happened. Although they were technically together, but my dad wasn't around because he's always traveling, doing church stuff, right? So once again, everybody's so happy to have, like, that's another thing. Can I just say, I met somebody who, for the first time, said to me, like, thank you for sharing your father with us. I was like, no one in my entire life, this was said to me like last year or the year before, last year. No one has ever acknowledged that, yeah, when you're all being so needy to your own pastors and wanting everything, like some of us, we're losing out on our own experience. Yeah, you're so happy to have a father in Christ or whatever. Yeah, well, some of us, you're then sacrificing us. I was very touched that somebody even had the thought to think that, we would lose out. Oh my gosh, our phone's about to die. Anyway, story about my dad. One time I got caught. You get the gist of what I was saying, but basically I got caught. I was with a guy. We used to walk to school together, but there was nothing happening because obviously he was a year below me. But we used to walk to school together. We used to meet at Subway and walk to school. And then my dad one day told me off with my mum. They were like in bed. They called me in, and my dad had a picture he'd printed of me with this guy, and he was like, "Who is he?" And I was like, "Bruh, this is just my friend." But this is what I mean about getting caught. Anyways, I would wrap this up. You guys get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Anyways, shame, guilt, all this stuff is a perfect thing, and I feel like it's the secret why everything's staying quiet, because these people don't want to be found out. They don't want anybody to find out. And that's what's keeping them enslaved. Everybody's enslaved. They're enslaved to the public and the public opinion, and we're enslaved to them and what they're prepared to do to be where we want to be, and then we fuel them. We're all just slaves. So I'm like, we only actually have freedom in God through Christ, because with Christ there is no shame. Our sins are washed away. God has forgiven. God has forgotten. Literally, it says that. It's the only place, and it's the safest place where whatever's happened, you can actually, who cares? That's the power of the blood of Jesus. This is why I feel like we've got to be more powerful as Christians, and we can't just let the devil keep doing what he's doing when we literally have the power to wipe it all away. Why should I live in shame? Why should I not want people to know things or feel like I have to hide away when Jesus literally died so that everything could be washed away? So yeah, guys, I'm going to go because the lives again are fades away and my mind's about to die. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad it only took this long. But yeah, guys, God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.